Full stocks breadth. Let's go take a look at the breadth. Breadth. Oh, we got a lot of breadth going on over here. Look at that. Only the energy sector has bearish breadth. That is awesome. Now, full stocks, we can see right here, we do have that crossover. So we're getting more buy signals, less sell signals. That's exactly where we want to be. Cool. Now we go on the breadth page a step further and we say, we're looking for, where is it at? Outlier channels, right down here. Outlier channels. This is showing you how many stocks are in uptrends versus downtrends. Now, when it lights up green, that means more uptrends. When it lights up red, that means less downtrends. So this actually has a score of 2. So whatever these sectors are, doesn't matter. If it's got a score of 2, which is a green on top and a red on bottom, that applies to every single sector. So that's pretty cool. Okay. Next, sector breadth. It needs to be bullish. Well, that's everything except energy. Okay, cool. Sector relative greed greater than 1. What does that mean? So the relative greed of the SPY is at 60 or 3616. So which one of these sectors has a higher fear and greed score than 3616? Literally every single one. So every sector has a relative greed greater than 1. Now, that's the first time I've ever seen that. Sector fear and greed heat map needs to be under 70 and rising. And we can see over here that it looks like all of them are under 70 and rising. All of them are under 70 and rising, if I'm not reading that incorrectly. Hold on, maybe I am reading that incorrectly. So, oh, that's the sector fear and greed heat. I'm sorry, I was looking at this percent right here. Let's go back to this. There you go. Heat map, under 70 and rising. Sector relative greed. Okay, they're all under 70 and they're all rising except for energy. Okay, I misread that. My bad. Okay, so there we go. So basically every sector except energy is on the board. Okay, now next, we need to get into the stocks itself. So that's where we need the screener. So let's take a step back. Let's go to the screener and we can start filling in some information over here. Okay, so let's reset the filter. We'll build this fresh. So sector, I will trade everything except energy because that one does not fit, and healthcare because screw healthcare. Outlier signal return, positive. That means our back test shows positive results. Capital efficiency, I'm okay with anything. 30-day average volume, I want greater than 1 million. I want liquid stocks. Current signal status, has a buy signal. Relative volume. Now, this is actually a new selection right here. Let's read what this is. Ratio of current daily volume compared to 3-month average. Meaning if the daily volume is starting to pick up compared to the average over 3 months, you could actually put that filter in right there. We may add that later on in the future, but that's not part of my plan right now. Signal type, swing or active. Oh, that is new. That's a new dropdown. Cool. I'm only looking at swing signals. Sector relative greed greater than 1. Price change, whatever over the last period, whatever you want right here. Now, I put no selection, but you could say something like over the last 10 days, I want something that's maybe 20% or more, right? You could do whatever. That's up to you. Price range, I want at least $10. By the way, somebody asked for my screener settings. That's why I'm going through this. Price range, at least $10. I have no cap. And speaking of market cap, I leave it wide open. Fear and greed heat map value. We're going to leave this all the way wide open. All the way wide open. Fear and greed heat map. Do we want this rising, falling, or no change? So what this means is the individual stock. In fact, let's pop into here real quick. We want to see the individual stock having its fear and greed heat map rising. That's what it's looking for right here. The individual stock's fear and greed heat map is rising. Now, a couple things is that as we fill this in, you might find some areas where it's actually popping in right here. So rising is the same as this. Signal is the same as this, okay? And then overlay indicator having an uptrend, meaning it's got the green background. That means it's in an uptrend. That's the 10/20 price over 50. And let's go back to the screener. And so trend, this is the same as this, okay? News coverage, you could add news coverage, and maybe we'll in the future, but not for today. Now, on the Outlier 9, I don't want to select all of these right now because we'll get 0 results. So trend, signal, and breadth. What I can do is give you bullish breadth, okay? The signal is currently sitting on a sell, and the trend of the market is still down, right? The trend of the market is still a bearish trend. It is still right now a bearish trend, okay? But we would want to see the fear and greed rising in the sectors and the breadth in the sectors be bullish. And we already talked about that a minute ago. The fear and greed, except for energy, is rising, and the breadth is also bullish as well. Look at that. And then any outlier blocks, I honestly prefer no overhead block or overhead block. I like that. I actually prefer the trading view outlier blocks, but you can use them if you want. We're going to hit apply filter. Then look at these. These are the best stocks that I can get you right now. These are the best stocks I can get you right now. Let's take a look at these. AEE. 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 There you go. Now keep in mind, I only trade at the end of the day. I only trade at the end of the day. Now, this one does have an outlier block here within 1.49%. So I would skip it. I would skip it. What about CMS? Let's go to CMS. This one does not have an outlier block on top of it. So we could dig a little deeper. And let's go to the CMS options chain. Okay, so on our options chain, what I'm looking for is this. Monthly contracts at least 30 days to expiration. Okay, so we're down to monthlies. May 15th is 30 days, 37 days. 200 plus open interest at the chosen strike and at least 200 open interest all the way down to the money. We don't have that. We don't have that. What does that look like? Let me show you something like Apple. I'm sure Apple's going to be very liquid. We're going to actually change this to expirations, regular expirations. There you go. So, for example, on Apple, I'm not picking Apple, but I'm just using this as an example. All of this has over 200. So we could say something like here has close to 2,000, and it has at least 200 all the way down. There you go. That's at least 200 all the way down. That's what we're looking for. So because of the liquidity of CMS, I wouldn't take that one. What about DTE? Okay, let's go to DTE. This one has been on Wall Street Bets for a while. Unfortunately, this one is not looking so hot. So why did this pull through on the screener? Why did this pull through on the screener? Let's apply that filter again. Maybe I messed it up. DTE, and this is in the oh, this is a utility. I thought it was a energy stock. Okay, let's pop into DTE. Pop into DTE. Well, there you go. Buy signal, getting more greedy. Is there more than one DTE? We have run into that in the past. Oh, there is more than one DTE. Stupid. I don't want Deutsche Telekom. I want DTE Energy. Okay, which is, I know it says energy right in the title, but it is considered, don't ask me why, a utility stock. Maybe it's like energy at your house and not energy in like oil. Electricity, maybe something like that. Hang on. Detroit-based diversified energy company involved in development and management of energy, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. Okay. But this is in the utility sector. Okay. And this one does not have any overhead order blocks. So we can go over to DTE. And we can see here, there's no liquidity. So we'd move on. Now, granted, if you want to trade this, I am not going to tell you not to do anything. You are a big boy. With 92% of our audience is men. You are a big boy. And because of that, you get to choose whatever you want. Okay. Consolidated Edison looked good until it got absolutely monkey hammered this morning. So I wouldn't take this one. Let's go to FCX. Okay. This one looks pretty sharp. Oh, but it's right at an order block right there. Oh, it even shows you the Outlier 9 score. In fact, let's go to that real quick. There you go. It shows outlier block is in the way. So either way, this is what I, as a professional investor, am looking for. Now I'm not going to be in the business of making predictions. I don't do that. There are lots of fake gurus on YouTube who will tell you all their predictions. And, you know, whenever they're right, they'll make sure to put out a big notice about how smart they are. Whenever they're wrong, what video? I didn't make that video. Quietly goes and deletes it in the background. Okay. So let's go real quick. A couple of questions here from Robert. How did the outlier signals know what was going to happen in Iran before anyone else? Well, it's a great question. So how outlier works. Outlier monitors how investors are reacting to changing market conditions, news, price movements, and the economy. It determines if investors investors are acting irrationally fearful or greedy, and by how much. It gives buy and sell signals when these irrational behaviors reach an extreme, and that allows you to get in the stock before the outlier move happens. So somewhere in this mix right here is exactly how I did that, my friend. Steven, what's your video title for how to roll an option? Steven, have you been to my channel before? I have like literally almost 3,000 videos at this point. I don't remember, but I know who does know, and that is Outlier Trading with Joe. Outlier Trading with Joe. Go to that channel. You could probably type in how to roll an option on that channel and find exactly what you're looking for. Joe has done an incredible job of all the training. Do you care about a sector individual signal like XLK having a buy or sell signal? So you could absolutely 100% put that in your trading plan. And where I'm going with that is if you want to have that in your trading plan, add it in, back test it, make sure it makes sense to you, and then follow that with consistency and discipline. For me personally, it's not part of my trading plan, but it could be for you. So my answer is I don't look at it, but if it's right for you, then go for it. Jamie, what's up, dude? By the way, I am excited to meet you in Florida here next month. Link is down below to register so we can all meet together. On open interest, if your option size calculation takes you a larger position than the majority of the open interest, is there a percentage that you should stick to? So we found this out with Lex. And so Lex is one of the big wigs at Tradier. And I actually asked him this question, something like this. And you can see he was in the Bravo class and just like dropped absolute bombs of knowledge, which was awesome. To watch that video, the easiest way to do that would be to go to my channel and then go to the playlists and go to the Bravo playlist. And then you'll see Lex right here. This was a significantly useful video. In fact, several of the options liquidity changes that we made were specifically from working with Lex. Now, Lex is a former market maker. He actually invented the Tradier platform, if you can believe that. And we learned a lot. One thing that Lex told us is that because Jamie, one thing that I noticed when people actually started listening to me on the internet is that a lot of people would flood into the trades that I'm also taking. And when nobody was listening to me for 7 years on YouTube, that wasn't an issue. But once people started listening and they were following along, and by all means, you do you. I'm not going to tell you what to trade. That's up to you. The options market makers will handle whatever you throw at them. Anything you want to throw at them, they'll fill you. But the more open interest there is, the more liquidity there is, the less of the bid and ask spread you're going to have to worry about. If there's, let's say, for example, 4 open interest, and you come in there with 400 contracts, you're going to have to pay a lot for it. Like that bid and ask spread is going to widen a lot, and you're going to pay a lot to do that. And that is why we're looking at 200 and then all the way down. So he said, listen, as long as they can find a buyer or seller, like, let me rephrase that. That is their job, is to be the seller if you want to be a buyer. Okay. So like I say, they'll fill whatever you throw at them, but the more you throw at them above and beyond what the open interest is, the more it's going to cost. Now we've seen that. We have seen that in example, right? We have seen where I'm trying to get in and I can't get in because other outliers are buying it up before me and they have to pay a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. But it's actually a fantastic video. So I would highly recommend you guys check out this video right here. The easiest way to get to it is the playlist, the Bravo class, and then this video right here with Lex.